Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Okaeri Nasai. I am Marcus Aurelius, and this is Dominions 4. Just take a moment to gaze at this beautiful map we have here in front of us, produced by Pymous, drawn by hand. It is truly lovely. We unfortunately have the misfortune of starting in a swamp. It doesn't look like it's affecting our supplies too much, but it would have been nice to have had some forests or mountains or something in order to give us a bit more production. I'm starting off with my first bakemono general, Bakemono Batman, and he will soon be my prophet. Tetsuhiko here is my bakemono scout. Let's take a moment and look at our troops. We start off with the bakemono scout. A typical scout, very low hit points, very cheap, not really a fighter, but that's okay, that's not what they're used for. A bakemono chief is a leadership 40 commander. I don't expect that I will be producing very many of these, but I suppose they can be useful for moving troops around. There is also a bandit leader, who is a human leader of 40. Like the bakemono chief, I don't see many instances where I will be recruiting one of these gentlemen. I could, perhaps, but there are other troops that do the same thing, only better. Speaking of which, the bakemono general has a leadership of 80 and much better stats all around, much stronger than your average human. Although he is size 3, which is the size of an average human. Most other bakemono, the bakemono show, are size 2. Then there is the Kappa Chief, who is remarkable in that he is amphibious and he recuperates, so he will heal afflictions. He is definitely situational. I could see myself recruiting them to go underwater, but not really for land-based battles. In fact, I believe there's something where in battles on dry land, the Kappa will gain fatigue until unconscious, so typically not very useful for overland battles. Now here's when things start to get interesting. We have a Muhina, who is a assassin, basically. She's a scout as well. She has 70 stealthy, but she has a fear aura of 5, forest survival, dark vision of 100, so she can operate in total darkness, and she has an assassin of skill 3. What that skill is her patience. Patience is weighed against the bodyguard skill of bodyguards to determine how many bodyguards are present when an assassin strikes. The Muhina is a strange apparition that appears as a comely young maiden dressed in pure white. When she gets close to her intended target, she reveals her true appearance. The Muhina is actually faceless and horrible to behold. The sight of her will make men turn and flee or become mad with fear. Muhinas use their power to get close to important people and drive them mad or kill them. You know, I am not Japanese, nor do I speak Japanese, so I could be pronouncing this completely wrong. It might be Mujina? I don't know. So that would make sense. Maybe it's Mujina, but if someone is Japanese in my audience, please let me know. I'd very much appreciate it. Next we have a very interesting fellow named Ashuten Doji. He is basically a living vampire, so he's not undead, he cannot be banished, but he life drains his enemies. And he also has 80 leadership, just like the bakemono general. So I could see this guy definitely leading armies, but I could also see him later in the game when I have some good items being a thug. A rather fragile, but still interesting thug. Next we have our workhorse mage that we're going to be recruiting quite a few of, the Uba. The Uba has 1 water, 1 death, 1 nature, and a chance of a water, earth, death, or nature random. So we should expect, if we recruit a lot of these ladies, to have very many 2 water, 2 death, and 2 nature casters, which opens up a lot of spells to us both at home and on the battlefield, opens up site searching, opens up item creation, so that's pretty useful. Earth is a little weak, which is why, of course, my Pretender has Earth, but there are other mages who make up for that. Ubas are malicious old witches who have sided with the bakemono. They have some skills in dark magic and coat their daggers in poison. They are able to take the form of a great black cat when in danger. They lose much of their magical abilities while in cat shape. So if necessary, I can transform them into a black cat, which means they will move across the map a lot quicker, and they lose their magic. I think it gives them some stealth too. Next, we have a bakemono shaman, who is a sacred level 1 priest, and he has a chance of either 1 fire, 1 water, 1 earth, or 1 death. Again, I do not see myself recruiting very many of these guys. They have poor researching ability, they have poor leadership ability, they are stealthy, which I think is more useful against human opponents because the AI tends to have a lot of province defense, I have found. So a stealthy army would be discovered quite quickly. And finally, we have our most powerful mage, the bakemono sorcerer, who has a very large weakness in the sense that they are old age. They are very old aged, in this case an average of 84 out of 46, which if you'll notice has huge penalties to his statistics. Strength -4, attack -4, defense -4. Those 3 are not that important for a mage, but these 2 hurt a lot. Precision -2. Now, I'm not going to want him throwing fireballs out if he's going to be hitting my own troops more than he's going to be hitting the enemies. And encumbrance +4, which is very bad because it means that he gets tired more quickly from casting spells. He also has 20% less hit points and 20% less action points. So one of my first goals is going to be producing an item that will stop him from aging even further. It's not worth it to empower them all with nature. That would take way too many nature gems. So that's really my one way of keeping them from getting diseases and afflictions. But it's not going to help the stat penalties. What will help the stat penalties a little bit is my Bless, which gives reinvigoration. I think it's 4, so they would overrule each other. It might be 2 though, so he still might have reinvigoration at -2. We'll find out when my prophet comes to the scene. And our air magic also helps with precision. So we'll see how much of those negative factors are mitigated by our positive Bless effect. They come standard with 2 fire, 1 water, 2 earth, and 2 death, and have a chance of getting fire, water, earth, or death again, and then another 10% chance of getting fire, water, earth, or death. So conceivably, these fellows could have 4 death, 4 earth, or 4 fire. I say conceivably because the odds of this are incredibly low. There's only a 10% chance they will even get a 4th magic path, and there's 4 of them to choose from, so there's no good chance that it'll be the exact same magic path that they got in the previous pick. So I'm not going to count on that as part of my strategy. So I'm thinking in terms of 3 fire, 3 earth, 3 death guys, and potentially a water too. And if I get an extra pick, wonderful. It's probably going to be in a non-synergistic path, like I might get death 1 and fire 1. But if something crazy happens, I'll accept it, and that'll be great. They are fire resistant, cold resistant, they have mountain survival, and half dark vision. So I won't be recruiting sorcerers right off the bat. I'm going to wait till I have a little bit more, well, obviously money, but also some magic items, things to make them useful so they're not just going to immediately die. As for our troops, like the bandit commander, we also have bandits with yaris, which are long spears that have a pierce effect but also repel. They're just your typical human troops. They're a little bit low on defense and hit points, but other than that, they're a typical human troop. There's the bandit bowmen, which have better stats, still 9 hit points. However, I'm never probably going to recruit any of these guys, and I'll tell you why very soon. There's the regular bakemono show, which as you can see from his stats is very weak in almost all respects and undisciplined. No armor. I can't imagine any reason why I would ever recruit these guys. I may, if the situation calls for it, but right now I can't think of a reason. There's also the bakemono show with the yari. So the other one had a club. So these ones make a little bit more sense. They have the repel effect, but they still are completely unarmored, have terrible stats, and are undisciplined. So again, I do not see myself recruiting very many of these guys. Now this, on the other hand, I see myself recruiting quite a bit of. In fact, they are going to be part of the backbone of my army. They are archers, and they are undisciplined, but undisciplined archers still shoot their bows. They still stand there and shoot their bows. All undisciplined really does to them is reduces their morale a little bit, which is just fine to me, because if the enemy troops make it to my archers, that means my melee troops are dead or routing, and I'm going to want these guys to run as fast as they can. I'm not going to want them to try to fight. So that actually is a benefit to me. And I don't care if they have armor. They're cheap, and I can replace them easily. Now, as the other part of the backbone of my early army are these bakemono show warriors. Now, they're a bit better. They have a yari, but they also have ashigaru armor, which gives them decent protection, and they can be commanded. So I can have them hold, I can have them do things. So in the early game, they're going to be my offensive force. They're only slightly more expensive than the regular bakemono shows. The bakemono archer, I don't see myself recruiting, again, because all they are is a higher protection version of the bakemono show archer, and I don't need them to be able to follow commands. I just need them to sit and shoot, and so there really is no benefit to me. I don't think this armor would really protect them all too much against arrows anyway. It's just something that I'd rather go with the cheaper units at this time. If there's a reason why I should move up to these guys, please let me know. I'd love to hear it. Now these guys seem pretty neat. They've got pretty good stats with the exception of morale and magic resistance. Pretty typical human average. They have a wakizashi, which is both slash and pierce damage, so that's kind of cool. I'm not going to be recruiting a lot of them because I prefer the ones with the yari for the repel bonus, but maybe at some point I will. They, again, they're the best statistically and offensively of the bakemono units. Now we're moving on to our kappas. Just like their commander, they are amphibious. They have a claw and a koppo, which is a armor-piercing attack, which gives the people that attacks a limp. So it gives them an affliction. That's kind of cool. But again, mostly I'm going to use these guys for going under the water, not so much on land. In the guides that I read about this nation, these folks have been overly used. Now this is based on Dominions 3, where there was no such thing as undisciplined, so maybe they're less useful in Dominions 4, but they are incredibly strong and they have a lot of hit points. So in the guides, they're typically used as standing in the front, soaking up arrows, and attacking. They're also used against larger enemies that trample, like elephants, chariots. So I could definitely see a place for them in my army. They're also very cheap in terms of resources. So if I have gold and not so many resources, I could see myself recruiting these guys. I mean, they are tough, they are cool. Their protection is 11, so that's like their natural skin, which is pretty good. I mean, even the protection spell wouldn't raise them too much higher than that. Legions of Steel would be very useful on these guys, as would Quickness. And then we have the main troops that I'm going to be recruiting in the late game. Well, one of them. The Dai Bakemono I hope to have as the mainstay of my armies in the middle to late game. They are very expensive in resources, but as you can see here, their stats are very good. They are better than humans in all respects, but primarily in defense, with a 12 defense and a 17 protection, and of course they have almost double the hit points of an average human. The average human has 10. Their morale is good. The only place where they're really lacking is in attack skill. They have a Nodachi, which is a very large sword with a length of 3, so they may even get a repel against smaller weapons, and it increases their defense and attack. So these guys are hopefully going to be what you'll see me fielding in large numbers later in the game. Maybe, if I have resources to burn, I will replace my bakemono show archers with these Dai Bakemono. They have longbows, which do more damage and travel further than the Dai Bakemono's short bow, but at the same time they're incredibly expensive for just an archer unit. You don't need to really pay 35 resources to shoot arrows, and again, it depends on where I'm at in terms of resources, whether I'm going to be heavily using these guys or not. If I have a choice, odds are I'm going to be producing these guys instead. But let's get started with my initial army composition. I'm going to recruit my first Uba, and I'm going to recruit a number of archers, at least until I'm out of resources. Okay, that looks good. Bakemono Batman is becoming my prophet, and Tetsuhiko, where should you go? There's a throne right next to me, which is nice. There's a throne up here in the mountain, and there's a throne here. Those are the 3 closest thrones to me, and there's one in the field here. So let's just have you go south. Now, another cool thing about this map versus the maps you've already seen me play on is it's very wide open. And what I mean by this is many provinces have a lot of connections. Like this province, for example, if you were to build a fortress here, it can draw supplies from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 provinces, which gives you a ton of supplies. And in fact, I might do that. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is that all of these troops can be recruited anywhere. Well, anywhere there's a castle. There's not any capital-only troops in this nation, so it makes them very versatile, and you're not restricted to just your capital. The only unit that's slow to recruit is the Bakemono Sorcerer. I believe. I don't even know. We'll find out. And as far as magical research is concerned, I want to start off with a mix of conjuration to get to dark knowledge, so I can start site searching for death sites, and I'll have access to some of my summons. Some I will summon quite a bit of, others I will only summon once to show you what they are and then never summon them again. The Ko-Oni is probably an example of that. They are pretty worthless. Whereas you might see me ordering a lot of the Konoha Tengus, since they fly and have a lightning attack. Eventually I want to hurry and get to the Ghost General, the Shura, which is a great leader and thug chassis, and the Dai Tengu, which is an air mage. So he will allow my archers to shoot more effectively, and he's also a Holy 2 character, which is the only one that this nation has access to. The Nushi is a water amphibious being that I will recruit. It's fun and unique. I don't know if necessarily it'll benefit my armies. And finally down here there is the Kitsune, which is a sneaky nature mage. And you've got, of course, got the Oni General and the Gozu Mezu, which are like, what are they? They're cloven-hoofed, horse-headed, bull-headed death summons. I'll show you them when I get to them. So conjuration is definitely a valuable path for me, as is thaumaturgy, which will allow the augury for fire sites, haruspex for nature sites, and gnome lore for earth sites. Earth sites a little bit less important because we don't have any Earth 2 mages until we recruit our first Bakemono Sorcerer, or until Date Masamune is awoken. So for right now, we're going to start with Conjuration till we get up to Dark Knowledge. Okay, Shinuyama. Bakemono Batman, the Bakemono General, shall hereby be known as the Prophet of Date Masamune. Arigato, Bakemono Batman. And we have our first Uba, and she has the 2 water. So she's also going to be casting Voice of Apsu, but right now she's just researching. Bakemono Batman will load up the archers that I created for him. And these guys, I'm gonna just throw them away. They're gonna catch arrows. To start out with, the archers are gonna be here. And let's start recruiting my main troops here. Okay, we don't get too many of them. Can we recruit another archer? No, we cannot. And another Uba. So, just like my last Let's Play, and what you normally shouldn't do in this game, but I will be, is I'm going to wait another turn before starting to attack. Normally you're supposed to get out of your first province either the second turn at the latest, or in some cases the first turn if you have strong troops. Let's see what's guarding this throne. The weakest units around here seem to be the Lizard Warriors. Amazons are pretty tough, but it'll allow me to recruit them, which is nice. Heavy infantry and heavy cav in this throne province I'm going to stay away from. Oh, I didn't even notice this. There's a throne here too. So I have a throne right next to me and a throne 2 away. That's a wonderful starting position. Wolf Tribe is not threatening at all, but there's 70 of them, which is no good. Bakemono Batman, I'm going to have you... well, I suppose you can just preach for now. Okay, we have another water Uba. That's not what I would have preferred, but it is what I have. I'm going to put these guys here. They are going to stay in the front, but behind... Oops. Nope. They're going to stay in the front, but they're going to stay behind my arrow catchers, and they're going to hold and attack closest. And I think this is a pretty decent army to start off my conquest. There's no sacred troops, so Divine Blessing is unnecessary. Sermon of Courage, however, is very necessary. So let's increase the morale of my troops to the best of my ability, and then we can start smiting. And we'll put him down here kind of between the two troops. Okay, let's see how the first battle goes. Let's move up here and take on these lizard warriors. We're not quite ready for barbarians. Another Uba, and more spear guys. I'll be able to recruit more as I conquer more of these territories as well. I will be getting off to a slow start, but hopefully that will be okay in the long run. This nation is probably one where you should start rather quickly, but you see what I'm surrounded by, I'll just lose. Okay, we've reached the level of Conjuration, and there's a battle in Larian Swamps. Let's see how it goes. Okay. My bakemono kind of blend into the ground, but you can sort of see them here. Those are my undisciplined ones. And as you can see, they are very weak and they're already running. I'm hoping that my archers will do good damage, and they have, so the independent armies are routed. That's really what I could hope for here at the beginning. It's not necessarily to beat them, but to cause them to run away. And I lost 9 of my bakemono shows, and they've fled back to my capital. Okay. Alright, so this is great. 11 province defense until I find something that's frightening to me. And actually, someone brought it up in the comments from my last Let's Play, and they're absolutely right, that 11 province defense doesn't really do anything. When you get up to 15, you get a patrol strength of 1, which allows you to catch sneaks and spies. So let's stay with that, actually. Okay, we now have an earth one, so I want one with 2 nature and 2 death, and then I can start my site searching. And we'll move him back. We're going to recruit another one. Let's just repeat that for the short term. And I think more archers is the way to go right now. Okay, excellent. Larian Swamps, I've already found 8 death gems. Excellent. And we now have a 2 death Uba, so that's great. What can she cast where they currently are? Shades, a Black Servant. A Black Servant is like a scout. That would actually be worth getting. I'll definitely do that right now. And then next I will show you the Ko-Onis, even though they're completely worthless. I will at least show you what they are. Bakemono Batman has already joined the Hall of Fame. He has lightning reflexes with increased defense. I like that very much. Okay. Spear guys, you go here. These guys, again, arrow catchers. And bowmen. So now we have quite a few bowmen, and Bakemono Batman is full of troops. Let's take on the deer tribe. Or was it the wolf tribe? And here we can recruit lizards, but we're not going to. We have a astral nature shaman. Not really necessary right now. Okay. Oops. That's not what I meant to do. Okay. More spear. And with the extra production from here, I can now recruit more. Okay, we have our Black Servant, and there was a battle in Ukrema. Let's see how it went. Here we are. There they are. I will say, when you're fighting on green ground, it is very difficult to see my troops. As you can see, the archers are undisciplined, so they're kind of milling about. But I actually like that because it makes them harder to hit with arrows. If they were tightly packed, then a good spell or a good arrow blast would harm them quite a bit. And you can see, despite being undisciplined, they are pretty effective as archers if you put them in mass. And when I start improving their archery by the use of spells, it will be even better. You know, we're pretty outnumbered here, but I have faith. Once Bakemono Batman starts smiting, there we go, they're already running. And we just took out their leader. Alright. I think we only lost our cheap, worthless guys. Yep, 11 of them. Or, wait. Are they lumping my cheap, worthless guys together with my not cheap, worthless guys? It looks that way. 384 gold. Oh, I love having a Fortune Dominion. Okay. Yeah, these are called bakemono shows too, so they call them the same. So that's going to be interesting. Unless we have them separate, we're not going to know which ones were lost and which weren't. And I forgot to move him. That was my fault. But here's this throne. Looks to be a pretty big one. It has a netter king. A netter of kings. That might be a netteret. No, Gibble, the netter king. So this is definitely one of the level 2 or level 3 thrones. And it's got fire snakes, clay men. It's a tough nut to crack. So let's move down here. We now have our dark servant, Oscogoth. He's a stealthy, sneaky servant, basically. A good tactic for these guys, if you have the levels of construction, is to give them something called a Bane Venom Charm, which causes disease. And you might see me doing that later in the game. We're going to move over here. And we now have a 2 nature. So we have 2 nature, 2 water, and 2 death. So we have all we need to start site searching in earnest. She is going to summon some Ko-Onis just so I can show them to you. Meanwhile, we're going to recruit more spear guys, as they tend to die, and they will start now that I don't have the cheap guys. They tend to die more frequently than the archers. And 11 province defense. Now I have the money, or 15 province defense. I have the money. I could recruit some bakemonos, and I might as well. Let's recruit, well, 1 of them. Well, alright, we recruited 6 of them. Okay, everyone's good to go. No, we're not good to go. You're going back home. Alright. So again, we're getting a pretty slow start, but I think that's okay. We now have 2 nature. And you can research for now. So the Ko-Oni are these little red guys, and they have chaos recruitment, so they cost less to recruit in a chaotic domain. I have an orderly domain, but I'm not recruiting them, I'm summoning them. They have chaos power, however, which makes them stronger in a chaotic domain. Again, another reason for me not necessarily to use them a lot. They're undisciplined, they have gluttony, which means they eat twice as much as a human troop, even though they don't even need to eat. And they're good at pillaging, but I'm not going to do much of that. This was great as Lemuria, but as this nation, I want to grow my population so I have more of a tax base and have more supplies. It is a demon, so it cannot be banished. So again, a pretty worthless unit, all things told. Okay, I think we're going to give up some of our archers so that we can have more spearmen. 35, I think that's about right. And does he have any... No, he doesn't have undead or magic being leadership, so he can't even lead the Ko-Onis, I don't think. No, he cannot, but the Ubas can. Okay. So now we're going to try our luck against whom? Yeah, they have Griffin Riders, Barbarians, Heavy Cav. We're kind of in bad shape, to be perfectly honest with you. I guess we'll try the Barbarians. Our archers will be able to kill many of them before they reach us. Our scout will come down here to keep looking for enemy nations, as will our shadow servant or whatnot. Look at these cool little villages with their little roofs. It almost does kind of have a Japanese sensibility to it. This is really a fantastic map. Okay. Alright, good. So we're doing pretty well in terms of money. I should probably get a second fort up as soon as I can. Alright, so in a province where you don't have a castle, you can't recruit anything, unlike but I believe someone can be recruited if you just have a temple. We'll have to check that, obviously, very soon. Okay, everybody seems to be doing what I need them to do. Is there anything else I can cast that's worth anything? Not really. I can show you the Ow Onis, so I might as well do that. No, I can't. I need more water gems. So, research it is. We are almost at Dark Knowledge. One more level of research. And actually, we're practically there. So let's move this down. No. I want Thaumaturgy. So it's just all Thaumaturgy. And 6. Well, 7's good enough. Alright, excellent. So we might be able to get 2 levels at once in this next turn. And we do! Conjuration and Thaumaturgy. Battle in Remesia against the Barbarians. Will this be glorious victory or ignominious defeat? We shall soon find out. Our archers are doing what we require of them. Barbarians do have pretty decent morale, though, if I recall correctly. They hit like a ton of bricks. Yeah, 3 morale. They're practically ready to run. Whereas my troops, with the boost, are at 12 morale. Sermon of Courage is a beautiful spell. It's too bad that this nation has terrible priests. Otherwise, I would be doing a lot more of it. Maybe the Tengu, the Dai Tengu, will have it. The Holy Two will be able to do it. Why are the archers engaging in melee? They couldn't be out of arrows that quickly, could they? No. Well, they're undisciplined, so I shouldn't really complain about what they choose to do or not. I lost 7 of my spearmen, 2 of my archers. Those are acceptable losses. Okay. So, Taya, you are now going to be auto-casting Dark Knowledge. I want to know what's around me. I want some sights. At Thaumaturgy 1, I don't think I can do much of anything. And that is the truth. I need at least Thaumaturgy 3 before I can start searching for other sites. So let's do that. We're almost ready to get to 2 anyway. Okay, and we found someone. Here is Bandar Log. They are a nation of monkeys with very strong astral skill. They're pretty close to me. Not seeing any black candles over here. Here is Mictlan, but it's not their capital. Their capital must be down here. Let's go give it a look. They conquered this swamp province. Mictlan is based on Native American, well, Native Southern and Central American mythology, so like kind of Aztec mythology. They're a big, heavy blood nation in the early age and the late age, but in this age, the Middle Age, they're under the rule of what is called the Lawgiver. So their troops are not into blood. However, they do have a lot of recruitable anywhere sacreds. So if you want to go with a nation who really epitomizes a bless strategy, you want to go with Mictlan. And I might actually play them in one of my nation showcases, this particular version, the Middle Age, to show you how a bless strategy really gets you off the ground quickly. Okay. Let's, militias and light infantries, yeah, let's do that. And, have I been? A lot of unrest here. Wow, a lot of unrest. Let's reduce that slowly. No unrest here, none here. There must be something here causing the unrest, not just the fact that I conquered them. And we're at the point where we need an expansion army, I suppose. So, you are going to join the force. Oh, let's get a bunch of these guys. Well, we're running out of gold, so now let's get more. Spearmen. It's a very difficult balance here. Okay. Alright, wonderful. And we don't have the water gem, so we'll go ahead and research. Okay, excellent. Everyone's moving. Good. This is running a little long, so this will be the last turn. Dark Knowledge. 2 new magic sites. Wow. First time. Love it. Ablak. Kind of sounds like Aflac. Ablak! What do we have here? Well, we have light infantry, a bunch of commanders. I don't expect too much to happen here. Well, they're weathering my arrow storm pretty well. Because they do have decent protection, but they are running now. Oh. Okay, so what did we lose, though? 6 of our bakemono shows. See, those guys are going to have to keep being replaced as time goes on. Pergami, you want to see Mictlan in action? Okay, these are not Mictlan troops. These are neutral troops, but they're incredibly deadly, especially to my poor little bakemono. So this is an interesting case that they're recruiting these guys. Yeah. That is not good news for the followers of Masamune Date. And we found our next nation, Vanarus. Now, Vanarus is a new nation to Dominions 4. It is kind of a combination of the late age nation Bogarus, which is kind of based on Russian mythology, and the early nation, well, the nation of every era called Vanheim, which is based on Norse mythology of the Vanir. Similar to the Tuatha that I fought in the Let's Play, they have glamour. I'm not sure if these particular guys do. And so this is not a easy nation by any means. They are a very strong nation, and I should be definitely worried about having to face them on the battlefield. Well, we need to get back home, and it's going to be a 2, even with the mobility. It's going to be a 2. Even we have moved 3, but our troops don't. I see. I understand that. Okay. So now we have Sumio, and we're going to load him up with these guys, and he still has some troops, so archers and spearmen. Okay, so the spearmen are going to hold an attack closest. These guys are going to be up here. They're up here. They're going to hold an. Oh, they're undisciplined. Well, good. Let's put them a little bit in the back then. Well, okay, so they're originally intended to be used as arrow catchers because they have high hit points. I'm kind of seeing them as sweeping over the back and attacking the sides while these guys are pinning them down. But frankly, there aren't enough of these guys to do that. I don't know what I'm going to do here. I really don't know what I'm going to do here. Let's just see. I mean, I can always recruit more, so we'll have them at the front doing the main charge. And since he is not a priest or a prophet, he is just going to hang out. He's going to hold, and he's going to stay behind the rest of my troops. In fact, we'll put him with the archers. Alright. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate your comments in the comment section of the video, and I just appreciate you following me and giving me your feedback and impressions. So, domo arigato, and goodbye.